And there was another name on the board that I was very excited for. And it was a wide receiver, and his name is Malik Washington. And the Browns turned in the card, and they drafted a wide receiver. And it was not Malik Washington. At pick 156 in the 5th round, the Cleveland Browns picked Jamari Thrash, the wide receiver from Louisville. So I owe Jamari Thrash an apology. I owe Browns fans who follow us on social media an apology because I reacted emotionally as a fan, like a lot of people did. I was not alone in this. I was kind of commiserating with other Browns fans at the same time without taking the time to step back and go through this logically. And the initial things, because let me just say this up front. Jamari Thrash is not a wide receiver that I scouted for the Browns. I didn't look into him because I didn't think he was a fit for the Browns. I didn't think he was really in play for them at any point. I felt like if they were going to take a swing at a receiver again, it was going to be in the 2nd or 3rd round. And then once we got past that, I thought, okay, they might be waiting till 6th, 7th round, or they're just going to, Mason Tipton in UDFA, who that kid ended up signing with the New Orleans Saints. So good luck to you, Mason. But in the 5th round, I never thought a wide receiver was what the Browns were going to shoot for. But they go for Jamari Thrash. And the instant things that I start seeing posted about him and reading, just doing real quick, like, oh crap, who's Jamari Thrash? I know the name. I've listened to a couple scouts about him, but I just haven't paid a ton of attention to him. Oh boy, looks like he's got speed. Looks like he's got drop issues. Oh, for crying out loud. Did we just draft Anthony Schwartz again? That was my initial reaction. And just remembering picking Schwartz over Amon-Ra St. Brown was like, oh my gosh, we just took Thrash over Washington. Did we just do it again? Like I said, Jamari Thrash, I owe him an apology because, man, I really believe I was off base with my initial assessment, and now I'm going to give you a little bit more of the research behind him. Let me be clear, before I get started, Jamari Thrash is not Anthony Schwartz. The whole time after I saw the name pop up on the draft board, I was just picturing all the horror show of Anthony Schwartz in my mind, and then I went and I turned on the tape for Jamari Thrash. His tape and everything from this past year, 2023 at Louisville. And immediately, I forgot all about Anthony Schwartz. So let's talk about Jamari Thrash because this kid is kind of a dog. So let's break him down. Jamari Thrash, 6 feet tall, 188 pounds. He's 23 years old, and he will turn 24 in December during the season. So this is the 2nd year in a row now that we've seen Andrew Berry draft an older wide receiver prospect that kind of goes against the young breakout philosophy, but again, that COVID season has impacted that picked age range these last couple seasons, and we've already talked about that. So Jamari Thrash is from LaGrange, Georgia. He spent his first 4 seasons in college at Georgia State. He didn't really play until his 3rd season, where he had 32 receptions for 452 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then he came back again in his 4th season, and that's where he broke out, I would say. 61 catches, 1,122 yards, and 7 touchdowns. It was the best season of his career in college. He transferred after 2022 to go to Louisville, where he put up 63 receptions, 858 yards, and 6 touchdowns here in 2023. He, in 2022, that 1,100-yard season, he earned first-team All-Sun Belt awards, and in 2023, he earned second-team All-ACC awards. In his first ever game with Louisville here in 2020, or just now in 2023, Jamari Thrash caught 7 passes for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns to help the Cardinals beat none other than Georgia Tech, the team he had just transferred from. So I thought that was an interesting stat, pretty funny to see. Some measurables here about Jamari Thrash. 4.46 speed. Immediately, he's not Anthony Schwartz. Anthony Schwartz was 4.25. This guy's 4.46. Again, 4.4s are not slow, guys. I know that, these guys got to get into the 4.3s. Yeah, they're speedsters. If you get into the 4.2s, you're elite level speedsters. 4.4s, you're, I would say, average wide receiver speed, which, again, wide receivers are fast, so it's not like you're slow. You get into like the 4.5s, 4.6s, now your speed might be a bit of a concern. 4.46 isn't bad. It's not elite. It's not bad. It's average wide receiver, in my opinion. He had a 1.54 10-yard split, 34-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump, 7.16 3-cone. Now here, from his NFL draft profile, the pros of Jamari Thrash. Footwork in early stage, smooth and sudden. He's able to rip off route cuts at tight angles. Possesses a second gear for mid-route separation. Above average ball tracking and pace adjustment to bring in the deep balls. Does a nice job of uncovering during quarterback scramble mode. I've seen this a few times from a couple scouting people talking about Jamari Thrash. Again, this is a fifth-year senior, played 5 years in college. He is more of a veteran receiver than a 20, 21-year-old coming out after his second season in college or whatever of playing meaningful snaps. So Jamari Thrash understands very well the scramble drill, and that is crucial. That is one of the things that popped off the tape to me. When the quarterback gets in trouble, when the quarterback's extending plays, Jamari Thrash has an instinct and an understanding of where to go, how to get open, and how to help out his quarterback make a play in the scramble drill. When you've got a guy like Deshaun Watson who is very good at extending plays, fixing broken plays, making something out of nothing, you need a guy who can excel in the scramble drill. It just reminds me so much of the one play that always stands out to me is, I think it was against maybe the Ravens when Deshaun Watson came back in 2022. He was scrambling, moving out to the right sideline, trying to extend the play, and he throws the ball down to the end zone, just blows it straight past Michael Woods, well over his head and out of bounds. And he's trying to tell Michael Woods, who's a 6th-round rookie at the time, he's trying to tell Woods, hey, like when I'm scrambling out here, man, you got to get to the open area. You got to know where I'm trying to go. And of course, there was no chemistry there. There's no rapport. So the whole thing was just kind of a throwaway play. But a guy like Jamari Thrash would probably be able to understand, I know where I need to be for my quarterback on the move right here. So just another example of why I really like this for Jamari Thrash. So we move into the weaknesses for Jamari. Catch space gets snatched up due to a lack of play strength. The 188 is a knock on him. I see a lot of places. He's tall, but he's slight. He's pretty thin. He loses focus when dealing with contact inside the route. He allows throws to get on top of him and turn into drops. Lacks hand strength to finish catches through contact. Couple more stats. Yes, 8 drops in 2023. He had 11.4% drop rate. That was among the highest in the entire draft class. Not good. Definitely a stat that I do not like to see with a wide receiver that we're bringing into the team. I watched a play the other night where he was running a route. He offset his defender, broke off wide open to the corner of the end zone. Quarterback throws the ball, hits him right in the hands, right in stride, and he double caught it. He caught it. He scored the touchdown, but it was the bobble on the wide open placement that had me like, ooh, dude, just clean catch that. You know, I think that might be a focus drop. There's some concentration issues. But again, you know, he had the ball, and I think he was just making sure his feet were in, lost concentration, dropped the ball, re-caught it, scored the touchdown. But it's stuff like that that leads to these drops that he suffers from. He did have a 2.35 yards per route run. That's a great number. We like guys that are definitely over 2. Over 2.25 is where I want you to be. Thrash, he's 2.35. He's over that mark. That's good. His ADOT, 11.6 yards. He ran 340 snaps out wide, just 41 in the slot. So he was 89, almost 90% of his routes were run on the outside. He's primarily an outside receiver. Now, he's not your not your X receiver. He'd be more of your Y. He can move into the slot, but I think that he's going to be a good opposite field player across from Amari Cooper. So we got Amari and Jamari. And I think that his skill set is along the Marquise Goodwin role. So if you think what the Browns wanted Marquise Goodwin to do last year, now Marquise was a little bit more of like the burner, but it's not so much about the straight line speed. It's more about your deep ball awareness and prowess. And that is something that Jamari Thrash is good at. And the thing with Jamari Thrash that I was watching, and I'll keep talking about some of his stuff here, but just watching the tape on Jamari Thrash, I said that it made me forget about Anthony Schwartz immediately. Jamari Thrash can freaking run routes. Now, is he the best route runner in the entire class? No, of course not. He's a 5th round pick. But if you remember Anthony Schwartz, super fast. Just put him in a straight line and let him go. Just don't throw the ball to him because he's not going to catch it. Jamari Thrash can run routes. The dude's got good moves. He knows how to set up a defender. He knows how to make a guy go one way while he's going another. And I came away from the tape actually pretty impressed. I was like, I'm glad that the Browns got this guy, because while I don't expect Jamari Thrash to ever be the number one alpha dog receiver for the Browns. Again, we talked about that on previous episodes. That's not what you're trying to do in the 5th round. What you want to do is find a guy who can be a reliable rotational or wide receiver 3 for your team, a guy that you can put on the field and if we need him, we got him. And he's going to make a play. He might not ever be the first read on a play, or the only time he is a first read is when we drop a play for him. But Jamari Thrash I could easily see him being that guy, because again, like I said at the top of this, he's kind of a dog. He does, if you watch him in Louisville, he's got a my ball mentality. Now, it's not my ball in terms of contested catch, because he kind of sucks at contested catches. I'm not going to lie. That is not his strong suit. But when I say my ball mentality, it's the mentality of throw me the ball, I'll make a play. And he does. And he makes plays, and he makes guys miss. And he's not bad after the catch. He doesn't have the most yak yards. He's not the best after the catch receiver, but he has the ability. He has the ability to take a quick slant to the house if he gets past a guy and turns on the jets. So overall, I like what I was seeing from Jamari Thrash. 418 yards after the catch, just 9 yards behind Marvin Harrison Jr., just if you want to put that into context for 2023. Here's the contested catch, just 3 of 19 in 2023, just a 15.8% contested catch rate. So he is not a 50-50 ball receiver. That is going to be Cedric Tillman. Again, Tillman and Thrash have very complementary skill sets. They don't overlap each other very much at all, which is cool, which is good. We didn't want, 2 receivers that did exactly the same thing, and you're like, well, which one do I use in this situation? We've got specific guys for specific things. He did have a 104.9 passer rating when targeted. That's pretty good. I like to see that. So if we go and we look at Draft Buzz scouting, they rated him 84% in short area, 89% in the intermediate, which is huge. Talk about this all the time with receivers. If you can win consistently in the intermediate area of the field, you're going to earn targets. You're going to be a quarterback's best friend, because the NFL is playing 70% zone on average right now. 89% in the intermediate. I like that a lot. 84% deep. I thought that was a pretty good number. Now, not a very good run blocker, on just 65% score there. And his hands got a 66% because of the drops in that issue. So again, good speed, not elite speed, good speed. Good route runner. He can run the routes. He's got a route tree. Now, does it need work? Of course it needs work, but he's not coming in super raw where he's got to work on everything, to get anywhere. Like, the dude is coming in with a route running regimen. Got to fix the drops. Got to clean that stuff up if you're going to be able to contribute for the Cleveland Browns. So here is what Draft Buzz had to say. Jamari Thrash enters the NFL draft as a receiver with a polished route tree and a knack for finding soft spots in zone coverage. Everything I already talked about. His ability to execute sharp cuts and showcase reliable hands makes him a threat on short to intermediate routes. With his demonstrated footwork and ability to make quick cuts, Thrash can create separation against man coverage, making him a viable option in the slot or on the outside. His route running savvy, combined with an instinctual understanding of defensive schemes, allows him to be a consistent target. However, Thrash's game does come with limitations, particularly in his downfield speed, where his time speed doesn't show, and ability to contest catches against more physically imposing defenders. His lack of elite burst and play strength could hinder his effectiveness in press coverage at the next level. Despite these concerns, Thrash's versatility and football IQ position him as a promising prospect for teams looking to bolster their wide receiving core. His ability to operate both inside and outside gives offensive coordinators flexibility in play calling, while his hands and route running precision ensure he can be a reliable chain mover. Thrash's performance in scramble drill situations and his knack for uncovering against broken plays add another layer to his on-field value. That's the scramble drill thing I was talking about. Overall, Thrash projects as a scheme-versatile receiver capable of contributing early in his career, particularly in systems that value precision route running and spatial awareness. Gee, whose offense does that sound like? His draft stock might be tempered by physical and athletic limitations, but his skill set offers enough upside to warrant consideration on day 3, and that's where the Browns got him. So I started it by saying I'm sorry to Jamari Thrash, and I will wrap this thing up by saying I owe everybody an apology for my initial reaction to Thrash, because I don't want to put the failures of Anthony Schwartz or even David Bell, and I can't include anything with Cedric Tillman. It's only been 1 year. So Schwartz, the downfall, whatever you want to call it, of David Bell, I cannot project those onto Jamari Thrash. Jamari Thrash is his own receiver. I cannot tell Andrew Berry, don't draft another receiver because you've missed on a couple. You have to keep taking swings at this position if you're going to, like this says, bolster your wide receiving core. You've already got a Murray Cooper. You got your alpha. You got your one. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got a top number 2 receiver who could still move into that number 1 receiver spot. You've still got Elijah Moore. You've got Cedric Tillman. And now we've got Jamari Thrash. And again, go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. I liked his presence. I liked his confidence. I liked his leadership on the field. He just looked like a dude that a quarterback can rely on. And that shows up a lot in a lot of his scouting. And I came away impressed. I really did. Again, the expectations are develop into a consistent, reliable, contributing number 3 option for the Browns offense. And I will be very happy. And I think Jamari Thrash can be exactly that. I like his leadership, like I said. I like his understanding on the football field. I saw multiple places cite his football IQ as a very good pro for him. 5th-year senior. He should know what he's doing out there. And when you watch the tape, you can tell he does.